Imagine an angel appearing in your living room tonight. Not a dream, not a feeling, an actual angel. And the angel says God has heard you, God has chosen you. God is going to do something extraordinary through your life. You would think everything changes instantly, but that's not what happened. The angel appeared, the promise was given, and then nothing happened. At least not immediately. 9 months still had to pass. Morning sickness, waiting, questions, preparation, growth. The promise was real, but so was the process. Here's the story. Israel is once again under oppression. 40 years under the Philistine rule. The nation needs a deliverer. God is about to rise one up. Yet where does God begin? Not in a palace, not in an army, not in a battlefield. He begins in a barren house. A woman who cannot have children. A family that has probably carried years of disappointment, years of prayers, years of wondering why. And that's where God starts. Because God loves turning impossible situations into testimonies. The story beneath the story isn't really about Samson. Not yet. The deeper story is about the preparation. God was preparing the deliverer long before anyone saw the deliverance. The nation was looking for rescue. God was building the rescuer. The nation wanted victory. God was growing the vessel. So what do we miss? Notice something interesting. The angel gives the promise. But then Manoah asks, what shall be the manner of this child's life? In modern language, how do we handle this gift? How do we raise what God has given us? How do we steward this promise? Oh, that's wisdom, because receiving a promise is one thing, but managing a promise is another. See, many people pray for what they are not prepared to steward. Pregnancy is one of God's greatest sermons, because everything God creates follows a process. The seed doesn't become a tree overnight. The baby doesn't become a child overnight. A disciple doesn't become mature overnight. A calling doesn't become ministry overnight. God often speaks instantly, but develops gradually. Joseph received a dream as a teenager, but the dream wasn't the destination. The pit was part of it. The slavery was part of it. The prison was part of it. Psalm 105:19 says, until what he had said came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him. The promise didn't skip the process. The promise created the process. And most of us think the waiting room is where nothing is happening. But what if waiting is where everything is happening? What if God is doing his deepest work underground? Because roots grow before the fruit appear. The character grows before the influence appears. Faith grows before the fulfillment appears. Jesus followed this same pattern. 30 years of preparation, 3 years of public ministry. The Son of God himself submitted to the process. If Jesus wasn't above the preparation, neither are we. So maybe God gave you a promise, a vision, a calling, a ministry, a dream, a breakthrough, a healing, a restoration. And you're frustrated because it hasn't happened yet. But maybe the delay isn't denial. Maybe the process is the promise unfolding. Because God doesn't just prepare blessings for people. He prepares people for the blessings. The angel announced Samson in a moment. But Samson was revealed through a process. And maybe that's where you are today. Not at the announcement, Not at the fulfillment, but somewhere in the middle, the uncomfortable middle, the hidden middle, the waiting middle. Oh, don't despise it, because the same God who gave the promise is working in the process. And when the process is complete, the promise will arrive right on time. That's highlighting the way.